Hi, Scott here with part 2 of John Muir Trail Tips. The first tip of today is that you can't go wrong going northbound or southbound. Southbound is the more traditional direction where you start at Yosemite Valley and finish at the top of Mount Whitney. And then of course hiking down to the Whitney Portal. Now finishing at the top of Mount Whitney often seems as the more climactic way to go, going southbound. However, I hiked northbound this last year and I found hiking into Yosemite Valley just as climactic. Now, I had never hiked into Yosemite Valley before, and I had been to the top of Mount Whitney before, so maybe that played into it. Hiking down into Yosemite Valley and seeing all that granite, those huge granite walls, seeing Half Dome, seeing the falls, that was just amazing. I don't think you can go wrong either way. Also, the permitting system for going northbound is much easier going out of Inyo National Forest. Plus, you get some bonus miles. Usually you're leaving out of Horseshoe Meadow or somewhere south of Mount Whitney where you actually get some extra miles in. I found that an advantage because I got to spend an extra couple of nights out there on the trail. It was an amazing way to go. Now, I have not done the trail southbound, at least not the whole trail. However, I can imagine that is an awesome way to go too. Starting in Yosemite Valley, climbing up, slowly increasing your altitude, and then finishing at the top of Mount Whitney. Great way to end, great way to go. It's just be aware that the permitting process is a little more difficult that way. That everybody wants to go southbound, so you have to win the lottery to go southbound. Now, going northbound, if you want to leave from Mount Whitney, it's just as tough of a permitting process because you've got to win that Mount Whitney lottery system to leave from there. So that's why I left from Horseshoe Meadow. It was a much easier permitting process. I got on 6 months before the date when I wanted to leave, and it wasn't a problem. I got my permit. Now, they do fill up fast. By the end of the day, they're all gone. So you got to know when you want to go, 6 months out, get that reservation in your hand. Second tip of today, bring a satellite communicator. Most importantly for your safety. Number one, if you have an emergency, you need to be able to get help to you. And you never know. You might think, oh, I'm an experienced hiker, I'm in good shape, but you just never know what will happen. A medical emergency, some other hiker having a medical emergency. So with the satellite communicator, depending on the type you have, just about all of them have that SOS button, and it will send your GPS location. If you have something where you can actually send a personalized message out, that's even better because you can tell any rescuers what the actual problem is and where exactly you are. The GPS should tell them where you are, but it's good to be able to tell them what the problem is and everything. Also, just the little minor, if you want to call them emergencies, the minor things that come up, like say a minor injury and you have to leave the trail and coordinate somebody to pick you up, or if you're trying to coordinate somebody bringing you a resupply, something like that, it's nice to have that. And then last of all, just to keep in touch with family. The toughest part of all these hikes is me being away from family for so long. It's the toughest part for me for sure, and it's probably a little tough on my family too. So it was nice while I was on the John Muir Trail. Now I took my time, so I was out there for 3.5 weeks. So that's a long time to be away from family. So it was great being able to communicate with my wife and daughters, let them know I'm okay, gave them peace of mind, and even though I didn't get to hear their voice, it was really nice to be able to send them messages and actually receive messages back. So like I said in a previous video, I brought the Garmin InReach, and it had that two-way texting communication as opposed to just the pre-canned messages that some of the others have. So for the third tip of today, I recommend you document your trip. It's a great way to relive the trail later on when you're back home, whether it be writing a journal, taking photographs, or taking video. Now, I never really was a video guy until before I did the John Muir Trail less than a year ago. So I had, on all my previous trips, taken photos here and there, and it was nice to have those to look through. But for the John Muir Trail, especially being gone for so long, I wanted to make a nice video for my family. So that's the reason why I took video on this trip and put together my video, and then it was an afterthought putting it on YouTube, and then now doing all these other YouTube videos. But whether it's writing in a journal, taking photographs, putting together video, whether it's just for your private use or putting on YouTube, I highly recommend it. I've had a great time putting these videos together. It helps me relive the trail. Whenever I see these old clips I put together, And even looking through my old photos from other hikes, it's done the same for me. In fact, if you're going to take video, I recommend you take photos too, because you might want to make a photo album. It's nice to use some of those photos in your videos if you're going to put together a video. So and then writing down something is great too. And by documenting your trip, not only do you get to relive it, but you get to share it with others. You get to share it with family, and if you like to do the whole YouTube thing, you can share it with the world. So I highly recommend documenting your trip. So to recap, you can't go wrong whether you go northbound or southbound. I highly recommend you bring a satellite communicator, and I also highly recommend you document your trip, whether it be journal, photo, videos, or any other way you find appropriate. If you found this video at all useful or entertaining, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for some more tips.